Sixers star center Joel Embiid is finalizing a 4-year, $196 million supermax contract extension. That, according to Ramona Shelburne, the extension keeps Embiid under contract with the Sixers through the 26-27 season for a total of $261 million. Embiid, who represented himself in the negotiations, became eligible for a supermax extension this summer after finishing second in MVP voting and second-team All-NBA with averages of more than 28 points, 10 rebounds in 51 regular season games. This is a fully guaranteed deal, and he'll have a player option on the final year of the deal. So Stephen A., clearly no concerns about his health. Tell me this, how big of a deal is this for the Sixers?
Well, Molly, the first thing I would tell you is that that's not true. There are some concerns about his health. It's just that it can't matter to the Philadelphia 76ers. He's such a superstar caliber player. If it were not for durability issues, we'd be calling him the best big man in basketball instead of Jokic in Denver. We all know how surreal, how big-time Joel Embiid is. His game is just something special to behold, and there's no question about it. But then when you take into account his personality and how magnetic it is, he's willing to talk trash to opponents. He's willing to engage the fan base and get them, rallied and involved. He's an incredibly inspirational player as well. He's the cornerstone of this franchise, no question about it. And when you take into account what transpired during the playoffs, what you see during the regular season, there's no fall off in the playoffs. Whereas with Ben Simmons, you looked at him, and even though you know what he's capable of doing, and this dude is a jump shot away from being the quality of a LeBron James, but he just doesn't have that, and then he ran away from the basketball when it really, really counted in the postseason. That's something else that elevated the stature of Joel Embiid in the eyes of the Philadelphia 76ers organization. So this was a foregone conclusion. They absolutely had to give him this money. He's well deserving of it. He's the cornerstone of their franchise. He's a star. Everything goes through him in the city of Philadelphia, and they would have it no other way. Congratulations to him. It's well deserved. Injuries or no injuries, you had to lock him up because he is everything to this organization.
Embiid, were it not for the injuries, you could say he's the most perfect center ever, right? He checks every single box except for the injuries. He's like Olajuwon is amazing, right? But Embiid's even bigger. Like he's a taller, he's a genuine 7-foot wide body who can play with his back to the basket, who can shoot from the outside, who can play defense even in the modern NBA at an elite level. And he's a big. What can this guy not do on the floor except for stay healthy? Because had he played a few more games, Stephen A., maybe a half dozen more games this year, he's the MVP instead of Jokic. He's also a great defender. He's great on both ends of the floor. And let me put this in perspective for you. How big time is Embiid? Remember when I was proposing a Damian Lillard trade to the Sixers? Lillard is a superstar. Embiid is the one in that combination. Embiid is still the best player on that team, even if Lillard is on that team. Now, I know the stat I'm about to give you, and Hembo tweeted it out earlier today. I saw this a couple days ago in Sixers Twitter. The stat I'm about to give you is a little unfair because all the retired players' points per 36 minutes averages, Stephen A., include the declining years of their career. Like, if you look at MJ's, that includes his years with the Wizards. That wasn't MJ anymore. He averaged only 20 points his final season. He was 57,000 years old. Embiid hasn't reached that stage yet. But do you know who the all-time leader points per 36 minutes in the NBA is? It would happen to be Embiid, almost a full point ahead of Michael Jordan. He ain't going to end his career that way. But at this moment, how do you ever – he's had a bunch of years in his career already. And he's there. Embiid is a crazy great talent, obviously worthy of the extension, and as you pointed out and many others have, by the way, even has a great larger-than-life personality, like the next Shaquille O'Neal in that sense, the big man with a big, lovable personality. The only issue is the injuries, and Stephen A., that's why he went third overall out of the draft. Like, it's been that way since he entered the league.
Well, I will say this. He's not the most perfect big man in NBA history. I'm not going to go that far because on many, many occasions, as skilled and as gifted and as special as he is, one of the impediments to his success is the fact that he doesn't always play big. Sometimes he plays small, meaning stepping away from the basket. So I'd like to see his big behind in the post dominating smaller dudes on a more regular basis, because we all know he can whenever he wants to. He just chooses to step away from the basket a little bit more. That is something that will qualify as an imperfection to me. Having said all of that, I think this is the biggest point to be made, Max. When you consider what has transpired with the Philadelphia 76ers all off season, since Ben Simmons' horrific performance in the playoffs, particularly his free throw shooting, more specifically than anything else, shooting like 30%, 31% for the free throw line, how horrific that was. Remember, the cornerstones of the franchise was a two-headed monster instead of one in people's eyes for a while. It was Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. The fact that Ben Simmons is such a huge question mark also is something that has elevated the cachet of Joel Embiid, because even Joel Embiid said something about how Ben Simmons had performed once the season expired, which is one of the reasons why people feel like you're hearing around NBA circles that Ben Simmons doesn't want to come back. I haven't spoken to his people, so I don't know how true that is, but you're hearing that he doesn't want to come back to Philadelphia, that he might not even show up to training camp. I don't know whether that's true or not. I just know that that's the scuttlebutt. That's what's been circulating over the last 2 or 3 weeks or so. But if you're Ben Simmons, one of the reasons it's believed that he's probably feeling that way is not just because of the trade talks, but because when Doc Rivers was asked post-game, what could Ben Simmons do, or could he lead you to a championship? Doc Rivers said, I honestly don't know. And Joel Embiid threw some question marks up in there as well. And so as a result of that, you look at the Joel Embiid, and this is a guy that's qualified to say that because he's on the court with you. And that's not a problem he has. He doesn't shy away from the moment. He wants the ball with the game on the line. He delivers the goods more often than not. He's good for at least 25 and 10 a night. This brother is that special, and he's got a magnetic personality to go along with it. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.